Hello, everybody. I am off center. Welcome to It Was Tuesday with your host, James Chen, aka Jay Chenzor. And it's going to be a fun day today. We've got some things to talk about over here, but as you've probably guessed, I can't believe Evo is only 2 weeks away now. Is it 2 weeks? It's less than 2 weeks, right? Let's see. Yeah, it's next week. Not this weekend, but next weekend. Oh, man. I am not ready for this. I have done very little planning. It is going to basically be me flying at the seat with the seat of my pants to do all this stuff. It is going to be terrifying, but that's because obviously Evo is a very special time of the year for me, for the fighting game community and such, and I can't wait to go and just enjoy fighting games. Honestly, so yeah, I mean that's the thing. David's gonna bus there because he prefers busing because it feels a little bit more and it's more relaxing. I'm gonna fly. I just want to get there as fast as I can. So, but let's talk about Evo 2023 coming up here. I've got a few things to discuss here. So normally every year we do a pre-Evo show where we get someone from the community, from each community, and talk about, what to expect, the storylines going into that. I'm not going to be able to do that this year. It's just David was usually the one that amassed all the people to interview and such, and I didn't prep properly to get anything set up for that, so I do not have that ready to go for us today. So I'm just going to talk very briefly about each game and just kind of a very overall, 1,000-foot level view of what's going on with the game, just so you guys kind of know what to expect and just kind of know what the state of the game is coming into the game. So let's go ahead and just do that by going over each game one by one over here. And I'll go through them in backwards order here. So obviously we have this post here from Evo here to talk about that. So it's a very interesting year. It's a very interesting year this year. It's weird, because there's a lot. We're in a transition period right now, and this transition period is kind of setting an unusual precedent here. So, for example, in number 8, this is Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate's swan song here at Evo. We would imagine so, outside of getting a side tournament in a following year. But you see right here, 449, the NRS scene tends to expect new games very often, and so Mortal Kombat 11's numbers have dropped off a lot because I think, they were just expecting a new game, and finally Mortal Kombat 1 has been announced. And again, I think that's going to be really exciting for Mortal Kombat. And, Mortal Kombat 1 has the potential to bring in a lot of people. Hopefully it does. And, NRS has been very good about these are the final numbers, FDF 86. Registration has closed. So this is it right here. But NRS has always been very good about trying to promote the esports side of things. And, with Mortal Kombat 1, I hope they manage to build in a lot more, esports related tool or FGC related tools into the game, so that, it creates more awareness of the FGC and such. But, again, we always make the comment for rising tide lifts all boats. I think Street Fighter 6 is bringing a lot of awareness for the FGC. And, I really hope that kind of pushes games like Tekken 8 and Mortal Kombat 1 to kind of want to do the same, right? To want to try to, ride this wave of momentum and really push forward for their games in the competitive sense. and I think that would be really, really cool to have happen. But this is going to be the last year for MK11. As I will note in just a bit, its top 6. Remember, EVO was doing top 6. Its top 6 will be taking place on Friday night. That has already been confirmed. So they always do the top 8s in the order of registration. MK had the least. I wasn't sure they were going to do a Friday top 6, but indeed they are. So Mortal Kombat will be run entirely through Friday and complete with their top 8. It's going to be interesting because obviously, if anybody in the chat can remind me, I think the 2 players, were they from Chile or were they from, what country was it? The 2 Latin American players who have basically been beating everybody. It is Chile. Okay, thank you, Chusestoa. They've basically kind of started dominating MK11. And they've basically been beating everybody. So it's really interesting. Like, I wonder how much Sonic Fox is going to try to take this game seriously to basically be the last winner of MK11. Or are they really just going to focus a lot more on Street Fighter 6? Sonic Fox has clearly been playing a lot of JP and playing a lot of the online tournaments for Street Fighter 6. So they're definitely taking Street Fighter 6 pretty seriously, and, you know, it makes sense because they got a character that I think fits what they want to do, very NRS kind of character. So I'm really curious to see what's going to happen if Sonic Fox is going to put a lot of time into this game, or, you know, are we going to see a lot of the other players come out and try to win, or is Chile going to win in the very final year of MK11? It's going to be very, very interesting. So, WB and NRS should work on translating more percentage of their massive casual fan base into competitive players. The conversion of rate compared to... And what's interesting about that comment, Shay, is that I don't even necessarily agree with that, but they need to turn their massive casual fan base into audience. They don't have to be players, right? Sports are not bred off of competitors. Sports are bred off of viewers and spectators, right? The majority of fans out there of tennis, of basketball, of baseball, of football, of soccer, or football, I should say, are not actually players. Some of them may dabble in it kind of for fun, etc., but that's fine. Right? Very few people discount, like, you hear people talk about, oh, LeBron versus Jordan or Kobe or whatever, or you hear about, like, oh, what team is going to win this year, or, you know, who's the greatest male tennis player of all time at this point. Like, everybody has a conversation to that, right? Everybody talks about it, regardless of whether you play or not. But it's because you watch a lot. You watch a lot and you really, really become invested in it. That's what NRS needs to do. It needs to turn its massive player base into a massive viewer base, basically. But yeah, that's kind of the way I feel like it should work. So we'll see. But Mortal Kombat 1 definitely has a lot of potential to achieve some greatness, especially with this kind of wave of you know, increased popularity in the fighting game community. Street Fighter 6 has been consistently over 10K viewers on Twitch every time I look at it, which is sadly extremely impressive for a fighting game. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, we can talk about that a little bit later, Tree Fox. But in 7th place here, obviously, Melty Blood type Lumina. Melty Blood is obviously a very niche scene, right? I mean, it's probably the, you know, most indie of the games here in this list. And the fact that Melty has actually gotten 2, years in a row at Evo, I think is really, really cool. I'm really, really happy for the scene. Personally sad for DNF Duel, but that's a whole nother story right now. But Melty Blood type Lumina is definitely one of the lesser known fighting games here at Evo. But there's a lot of good information out there, and it's one of those fighting games that could, right? The fighting game that could, and obviously these guys are going to appreciate their time as much as possible. And I know Melty was really exciting last year. So, hopefully a lot of people tune into this. If Melty Blood is not your thing, and you decide to sit down and watch it, I'm sure its top 6 is going to be on Saturday. If I'm not mistaken, 5, 6, and 7 are all going to be on Saturday. And so if you actually sit down and watch the top 8, definitely take the time to understand it. But it is a very airborne I mean, it's not as airborne based as some of the other fighting games I'm thinking of right now. But, there's a lot of mechanics, there's a lot of rules. Unfortunately, I do not know Melty Blood particularly well. But getting over 500 entrants here at Evo, I think is actually pretty impressive. If there's people in the chat here who know more about the Melty Blood scene, I hope Jalen is commentating it as well. Yeah, Friday finals. Mortal Kombat's going to be a Friday final. It's going to be a Friday final. So, is there any other fighting game that deserves to be in the conversation for a spot at Evo this year, ignoring Smash Brothers? Smash Brothers, of course, can't get in there because Nintendo won't let them be in there. But like I said, I think DNF Duel really deserved a spot in there. I would have loved to have seen DNF in there. So, oh, interesting. Melty Blood got added to PS Plus Extra, and there are a lot more players online. I see. Yeah, again, the low numbers for MK Fated Retribution is because its NRS scene usually has a new game every 2 years. This is the first time in a long time that NRS hasn't had a new game because they skipped an Injustice 3 and going straight to Mortal Kombat 1. And the NRS scene tends to have harsher dropped numbers. Like the numbers tend to fade down quicker because they're so used to jumping into newer games. But, what I'm hoping is that NRS really establishes a kind of mentality with Mortal Kombat 1 that this is a long-term game and, kind of plans it out to be more of a 5-season game or something like that, because I think that will be really, really cool. If there is going to be an Injustice 3, we have no idea. We have no idea. And again, let's not insult games here. Again, all fighting games are wonderful, and take the time to appreciate them. That's kind of the whole point of this, to be honest with you. Like I said, if you sit down and watch Melty Blood type Lumina top 8 and you don't actually know much about the game, listen to the commentary, maybe even beforehand, just do some primers. Could probably find Jadlyn on her chat and talk to her. She'll probably be able to give you lots of good advice and good things to look out for and such. But, again, it's one of those things, like, it's always really cool to see that small scene, fighting really hard for their game and really just kind of basking in the limelight. I think that's really, really cool. Nickel and Dime asks, is Project L showing up? No idea. We'll get to that in just a little bit. So, oh yeah, the Combat Pack #1 for Mortal Kombat 1. Yeah, the crazy thing about it is I don't really have any familiarity with the boys or Invincible and all that stuff like that. I know a lot of people are really excited about that for fans of the show. I don't really know them very well, but that is quite the pack. That is definitely quite the pack for characters. But yeah, support Melty Blood. Like, let's be happy for them and such. So we'll get to that, Super Moose. We'll get to that in just a little bit. So, right, yeah, exactly. Like Shay says, last year Grand Blue Fantasy Versus scene killed it at Evo. So many entrants, etc., etc. And with the new rollback Grand Blue Fantasy Versus revised. I can't remember what it was. So, there's so many R words that are in everything, dude. So Rising, that's what it is. Like, dude, every video game sequel has an R, dude. Reload, Rising, Revengeance, Resistance, whatever. It's just, I can't get them all straight anymore. But number 6, King of Fighters 15 with 666 players. Now, obviously, I've already seen in the chat a lot of people talking about how they're actually kind of surprised that the numbers for King of Fighters is relatively low. And, you know, it is kind of, you know, sad for me to see it, you know, at you know, 600 players at this point. But obviously, the netcode matchmaking problems was a huge issue for King of Fighters early on, and really kind of just kind of damaged kind of took the wind out of the sails, you know, basically. And I am glad, though, that the game keeps getting more content, more characters. They just came out with Genets. They have more new characters coming out. Please, no spoilers in the chat if you've actually seen the leaks already. But they have 2 unannounced characters, which I'm hoping they will announce. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But King of Fighters 15 did get the crossplay and got revamped netcode, so it's gotten a little bit of a revival here. But again, this is a great scene, and King of Fighters 13 at EVO again was one of the absolute greatest top 8s 2 years in a row that we've seen at EVO. And honestly, King of Fighters 15 being there last year was an interesting situation, because if you remember, it was the first year after the pandemic. China was still not allowed to travel. And so we didn't get Shanghai and any of the other China players at EVO. It was taken by ZJZ, who is obviously super good, but Shanghai is the man, right? Like, Shanghai is the one to beat. And so this year, despite, you know, having, quote, low numbers, I mean, 666 is a lot of players, to be fair. But this year is going to be crazy, dude. It's going to be crazy because everybody is going to be there this time. You know, this is the one. This is the one that I think all the King of Fighters players want to see, because we should have all the best players there. And so if you win this EVO King of Fighters, like, you are absolutely king of fighters at this point in time. So, I mean, not necessarily Mexico versus China. Don't forget Taiwan in that mix as well, because that's where ZJZ and ET are from, right? They're from Taiwan, and they're super, super strong. So that's going to be a situation. Now, obviously, depending on who you are, Taiwan counts as China. That's a whole nother political topic that I won't get into right now. So, but if you do count Taiwan as its own region, then for sure. And yeah, Pakistan is definitely going to be trying to get in there as well. Let me see, actually. It's a really, really interesting question here. Let's take a look at the start.gg here of EVO and see if EVO 2023, if we can see Shanghai's name in the list of attendees for King of Fighters 15. So King of Fighters 15, let's see. Well, I don't think I can do that. I think I just have to search for Shanghai's name by itself. Let's see. Yep. Shanghai is registered for Street Fighter 6 and King of Fighters 15. So he's coming. He's coming. So, and yeah, Fight Provoker. It's funny that you say that, given your name in the chat. I love it though. But Fight Provoker says, I don't understand why players have to diss or put down other games. even in pro sports, they acknowledge the athleticism and difficulty of another discipline and build up each other's sports. 100% fight provoker. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. All right, you don't like King of Fighters. Okay, you don't like Street Fighter 6. All right, Tekken's not for you. That's fine, man. Like, as I've said to everybody else, like, for example, something like DNF Duel is absolutely one of the most blazingly enjoyable games to watch because the game is it's so broken. Like, the game is just full of broken stuff. And it's so really cool. So even if you don't enjoy playing the game, there is so much to be taken out of that game as a spectator sport as well. There's a lot to be enjoyed from a lot of these games when you watch them and get really hype and stuff, right? I mean, like, I'm sure a lot of people might not have been interested in Dragon Ball FighterZ, but you got Goichi and Sonic Fox early on and everybody was watching it and everybody got hype, right? Again, like, these fighting games are all fun and it's just very, very easy to enjoy other fighting games even if they're not your game. You know, obviously there's going to be this level of competition of like, oh, my game has movement. Yeah, whatever. Just like, stop. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of it too is like Flashy Flash says, they never grow up. In other words, they haven't matured yet, right? And again, it's human nature to be very cliquish, right? It's very human nature to formulate clans in a way, right? And kind of fight off other groups. And that is largely what causes a lot of problems on this planet. But yeah, and it's true what Shay says. A lot of the times it's just nobody's online, right? It's a bunch of nobodies online. Like, you know, like we've got one in the chat right now who's just being, you know, difficult just to be difficult. So, you know, we're just gonna take care of that right now. But, yeah, I mean, again, it's not even just the FGC Wolf. It's everything, right? You talk to MOBA players and, you know, Dota guys will talk smack about League of Legends. League of Legends will talk smack about Dota, etc., etc. There's a lot of that going on, right? It's not just FGC. But speaking of Dragon Ball FighterZ, 838 players. Wow. I am really, really impressed. Dragon Ball FighterZ continues to be this game that just has this really fervent fan base, and it's really, really impressive. And let's hope this is the last year that we have delay-based netcode Dragon Ball FighterZ. Because Dragon Ball FighterZ definitely deserves that rollback netcode that they announced at EVO last year, and we still don't have the rollback netcode. But man, like, that's so cool to see. 838 players, and again, the players for Dragon Ball FighterZ are so, like, they're in there, right? Like, that scene is really, really strong. There's some good players there. I mean, again, you know, Holy Sock, it's just going to depend on who you talk to, but Dragon Ball FighterZ is more traditional fighting game than Budokai, right? As far as I know. I mean, yeah, Keijukazi, you could say that Namco dropped the ball on DBFZ, but it still keeps getting new content, and theoretically it's still getting rollback. Maybe they're just having trouble implementing the rollback. We don't know what's going on. We honestly don't know what's going on. Could be reorgs, whatever like that. Could be all sorts of reasons why it's not there yet. So I don't even know why Twitch tried to moderate that. That was weird. Anyways, but yeah. Hopefully a netcode beta will be announced, etc., etc. And again, the finals have always been exciting. Obviously, the game is a little bit long, but still, it's a fun game to watch. Again, it's beautiful. I mean, it looks so good that the last Dragon Ball animated movie literally used ArcSys's engine to animate some of the fight scenes. right? Like, this is what I was told. People can actually correct me if I'm wrong with that, but I was told that some of the fight scenes in that movie literally just used the Dragon Ball FighterZ engine to animate some of the scenes. That's how beautiful the game looks, right? So, you know, again, really cool to see Dragon Ball FighterZ at 838 players. For me, I probably would have considered maybe pulling Dragon Ball FighterZ from the lineup because it's a little bit old, but no, I'm wrong. I'm 100% wrong. Like, it's great. It's great. The scene is thriving, and I'm really excited for the scene. Number 4. Wow, do we want a story to tell? If we have stories to tell, number 4 is probably the biggest. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. Is this the biggest story? Is this the second biggest story to talk about here? Probably the second biggest story at this point in time, but 1,346 players for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, an EVO record. And yes, for sure, there are some people who signed up who aren't planning to play just so they could break the record at behest of guys like Tong and a whole bunch of other people. But, saying like, let's break the numbers, But still, the fact that it even got to the point where it could potentially break the number for a game that was released in 2010? What year did MVC3 come out again? I always forget. MVC3 release. 2011. 2011. This is a 12-year-old game. This is a 12-year-old game, dude. And, right, so Ultimate in November of that year, but Vanilla was in February. We just count it as one game at this point in time because, honestly, the first one... Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, for all intents and purposes, was like a season 2. But man, 1,346 players, over 1,000 players. It is now in the 1,000 players, over 1,200 players club here at EVO. And just, this is such a story because, look, as a person who has been to every single EVO of all time, EVO doesn't feel like EVO without Marvel. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. And putting Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 here and having this kind of reception for it is just, it's so cool. And again, Super Moose, you may not enjoy playing it, but dude, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is one of the most fun games to watch. Absolute, because it is one of the more, it's like DNF Duel. It's just so brutal when you watch this game. Like, how is this game even fair and playable? But it is, and it is absolutely has some of the best neutral and fighting games. And if you talk to major top players and fighting game players and longtime vets and stuff, even people who don't play this game, if you ask them what the best fighting game was between 2010 and 2019, most players say Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Like, both David and I think that Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is like fighting game of the decade. Like, it's that good. Like, it's evolved into something so strong. So, and you've been watching Marvel Journeys more recently for the first time in a long while, and damn, I forgot how fast this game is, says Fallen Out. Yeah, Chu says Stoa, a lot of the Marvel players are going in there. And that's the thing, right? That's a lot of fighting games. Like, we can... best neutral in fighting games for 3 moments each round, right? For sure. But again, is that much different than Guilty Gear and Street Fighter sometimes? Like Street Fighter 5, sometimes you got the knockdown and then the guy just died. Guilty Gear, you get the knockdown and the guy just dies, right? So it's kind of like that, basically. Marvel is kind of like that, but instead of rounds, you have characters. But oh, Hognail, what's going on? What's going on, Hognail? But I mean, just what a wonderful story to see. And like, this game is such a beloved game in the community. And like I said, maybe for those of you who don't like Marvel, if you watch the top 8, now the shameful part is that this is going to probably be the first game on Sunday, which means in order to watch it, you're going to have to wake up early, which just doesn't happen in Vegas. Which just doesn't happen in Vegas. But if you do happen to go there, and even if you aren't someone who enjoys Marvel that much, feel the energy of a Marvel vs. Capcom 3 top 8 at EVO. It's going, you will get sucked in. Cause it is, like I said, this is the game that gives no F's, right? Like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 doesn't care about your hatred of infinite combos or touch of deaths or unblockable setups and stuff like that. This is the game that was made for the people who just have no mercy. And when you get this many talented players, and again, there's some crazy storylines going in this game, because is Chris G going to want to try to establish himself again as the greatest Marvel vs. Capcom 3 player of all time? Is Kane Blue River going to come in and have a surprise all of a sudden resurgence? Or is it going to be Ryan LV coming back to assert himself as the latest and greatest Marvel vs. Capcom 3 player? Or is someone like Jabril going to come in and defeat everybody? He got second place at the Danger Room just recently, or somebody else gonna come in and surprise everyone? Is F-Champ gonna try to come back in and, you know, all of a sudden try to take the, you know, this game? And it's crazy. Like, there's so many good storylines going in there, and every one of these players are all absolutely merciless killers, and I love it. And I love it, love it, love it, love it. And I'll tell you this right now, I have been pitching to Evo staff a long time ago the idea of a throwback tournament for years and years and years and years. The fact that Rick decided to do that for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and to see the kind of success that it has right now, it's so cool. And I really, really do hope they keep this up. But like, you're torn, right? Do you bring back Marvel 3 as the throwback tournament every year? You know, maybe Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 with these numbers transcends that, right? Maybe it is the Melee of the fighting game community. Because honestly, Melee is kind of the same way as Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. They're both games of absolute brutality and just momentum shifts and stuff like that. So at this point, I mean, maybe next year we can do different throwback games. My idea was to have 4 throwback games a year that you could only sign up for one of them to create fewer scheduling conflicts, but then also to pick really crazy, obscure shit. Like, literally, let's have one year be Street Fighter EX2. Let's have Rival Schools 2. Let's have Cyberbots, you know, or something. Like, just do some crazy things out there, I think, which would be... Bloody Roar would be amazing. Jackie Chan, Fists of Fire, like... And then just make it so that you can only sign up for one of them to prevent any sort of scheduling conflicts, basically. Primal Rage, Street Fighter the movie, the game... Dude, you don't think that Street Fighter, the movie, the game scene out there that got mad at Justin for calling it a bad game wouldn't come out to try to showcase what Street Fighter, the movie, the game would be like at EVO? KOF 11? Dude, Sailor Moon? Like, can you just imagine? Like, it'd be so cool. And you know, you would just run it so it was just like the top 3. right? You would just run the top 3 for each of those 4 games, but it would just be so sick to have that, because the coolest thing about fighting games is the history of fighting games, right? It's the history of fighting games and the fact that a good fighting game never goes bad. It is absolutely undeniable, especially this past weekend, which what we saw at 37 Reloaded. A good fighting game never goes bad. Like, there are games that you will go back to and you're like, wow, this game wasn't as good as I remembered. But fighting games, good fighting games never ever go bad, and we should be celebrating that. We should be celebrating that and celebrating the scenes that have managed to keep their games alive. I want to see a high-level Street Fighter EX2 match with Volcano Rosso being super cheap. Like, I think that would be super cool. Right, bad fighting games stay bad as well. That's the corollary falling out. But I think the idea of a retro tournament would be cool. And I'm so happy to see what Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 has done and setting some sort of precedent here. And of course, it's a unique type of game. No other throwback game would get 1,346 players probably. So I really doubt anything else would achieve that levels. But if we can just make Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 a staple, and with Marvel tweeting about it, dude, my brother said he got like some email from Marvel telling him that Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was at EVO. If Marvel actually goes to EVO and sees how crazy hype everybody is about Marvel vs. Capcom 3, maybe Marvel will just be like, hey guys, do you think we messed up? Do you think we effed up? Should we go back to Capcom? I mean, look, I am the #1 person in the world who says, like, stop, no, don't even hope for anything. Just stop. I'm the #1 person who will do that. But man, God, the heart fights the mind so much. The heart fights the mind so much, dude. It was crazy, dude. It's hard. It's hard. The hopium, yeah, I am definitely getting a good inhale on that hopium right now. So, oh boy, what's up, Sir Retro? What's going on? So, number 3, Tekken 7. Tekken, man. I love this Tekken scene, man. The Tekken scene is amazing, dude. How old is this game? This game is almost as old as Marvel is, right? When did Tekken 7 debut? Tekken 7 release date. I mean, there's like 900 release dates, right? When was the first? It was 2015, it looks like. It's only 4 years. It's 4 years older than Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This game is 8 years old, and it has 1,580 players here at EVO, which is super amazing, and it's really cool. And with Tekken 8 around the corner, I mean, you got to imagine how excited these guys are. You got to imagine how hyped these guys are. And the Tekken scene brings it every year, and so I'm just so happy and so proud to see that the Tekken scene is just killing it right now. And I feel like, you know, Nii has beaten Arslan Ash at an official EVO once, and Arslan Ash has beaten Nii at an official EVO once in grand finals. Can you imagine if they both got to grand finals again? I mean, it's hard because the Tekken scene, the parity is very nuts, and it's going to be so hard. But can you imagine if that happened, dude? Oh my God, it's so crazy. It's really, all this considering they still didn't even announce the TWT prize pool number, is really just passion. Absolutely. And again, really happy for this scene. And like I said, with Tekken 8 coming around, I mean, again, like we're in a transition period right now. Tekken 8 has the ability to take Tekken to that next level, honestly, right? I mean, because we're in this kind of pseudo renaissance here. I don't want to call it a renaissance or a resurgence or a revival, but Street Fighter 6 has kind of like, I feel like one of the biggest. I mean, Street Fighter 5 last year didn't even have as many as Strive. Remember, Strive closed out Evo because it had the most entrants. So Strive had 2,000 entrants. So Street Fighter 5 was under 2,000 last year. Holy Sock, who asks what were Street Fighter 5's numbers last year. So again, shout outs to Tekken. Shout outs to Tekken, the Tekken scene. And I'll talk a lot more about that once I get to this topic over here, Tekken 8 CNT. So, and then number 2, Guilty Gear Strive. The numbers went up. The numbers went up. Guilty Gear Strive had 2,000 last year, and it is 2,481 this year. The Strive numbers went up, and I think that's absolutely wonderful. Because I know, Strive, when it came out, it had a rough start. A lot of people were like, this isn't the Guilty Gear that I know. And then slowly but surely, players are like, actually, this Guilty Gear's pretty sick. So, the fact that it went up is wonderful. Now, again, a lot of these numbers are going to be boosted by Street Fighter 6, right? Rising tide lifts all boats. We've seen the crossover number stats that Evo put out and everything like that. But still, Street Fighter 6 can't be given credit for Strive getting 2,500 players here. Like, you just can't do that. That's so unfair to the Strive scene. Really awesome to see how much people really enjoy Strive and are still playing Strive. And that game, oh boy. If you were worried that Strive was simplifying things too much, let me introduce you to a character named Asuka, okay? Let's introduce you to a character named Asuka. That character is absolutely bonkers, batshit insane. So, we'll see how that's going to go here in Guilty Gear Strive this year. So, yes, they did say they would only be paying top 6. That top 6 would be the only ones getting paid. Is that different, Investigation Cone? Does it actually say anything different on the website right now? I'm curious about that. But yeah, Strive is a beautiful game, and again, I've enjoyed Strive so much. I've kind of been a little detached from the game because the Series E went away, and I haven't had a chance to commentate it as much, but I'm definitely going to be catching up on it so that I may enjoy the Strive Top 8 as much as possible. Oh, it looks like they are paying out more. Oh, let's see. Let's see what they say here. Aye! Yeah! Let's go! Let's go! I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Oh, is that just Street Fighter 6? Oh, yeah, you're right. So every other main title will have it, but they're still to the top 8. So it's still the top 8 for every other game. But, I mean, getting something is better than nothing, honestly. It just sucks that also all of top 8 gets medals. Yay! Yay! I mean, that's cool. Thank you, Evo. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Yeah, an Evo finalist medal and their earned cut of the prize pool. Oh, that warms my heart. I'm so happy. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Evo. Thank you so much. Because this would have been the shittiest year to get top 8 at Evo ever, dude. Like, honestly, it would have been the worst, dude. Ugh. But, yeah, so Guilty Gear Strive looking good here. Really happy about his numbers. But Street Fighter 6, like I said, this is probably absolutely the biggest story, right? Street Fighter 6 first year, 7,061 players. Broke the original record of Street Fighter 5 at 5,000 players. And I will say, I'm pretty sure Street Fighter 5 that year had a bunch of DQs. But I don't think that's going to happen this year. I don't think that this is going to happen this year. I think the majority of those 7,000 players are going to be playing because the reception to Street Fighter 6 has been phenomenal. Obviously, there are people getting tired of certain things like Drive Rush and Drive Impact, whatever like that, but CPT points are here. I mean, CPT spot, not points. CPT spot, but also it's just, I think people are really enjoying the game. I think they're really, really, really enjoying the game. Street Fighter 5 also offered free t-shirts. That's right. It was the throwback Blanca shirt in the Blanca chant or something like that, right? But game is barely 2 months old. We're getting a brand new character into the game who's not even 2 weeks old, who seems really strong right now. This tournament is going to be chaos. This tournament is going to be absolutely nuts. Like Brian F. said, you can't call who wins any event these days. Like, it's really hard. Now, obviously, players like Punk, NuckleDu, Mena, RD are players that you expect to see place high all the time. But, I mean, again, we haven't had a lot of international competition. We haven't had a lot of international competition. We don't know how America's going to do against Japan, is going to do against Europe, is going to do against Pakistan, is going to do against China, which is going to do against Korea, which is going to do against, you know, South America, how it's going to do again. Dude, it's crazy, dude. Like, this is going to be absolute insanity. And I can't wait. Like, you want to talk bloodbath. I mean, again, the best way to put it is that if Street Fighter 6 at EVO decided to run an 0-2 bracket, it would be the third highest game at EVO. The 0-2 bracket would be the third largest game at EVO. A fourth of those players are going 0-2, man. A fourth of those players are going 0-2. It's like 1,700 players or something like that. It's the third largest game, dude. Like, seriously, it's unprecedented. I tried to look it up. I was wondering if this could even be in the Guinness Book of World Records for the absolute largest open bracket tournament run in a single location. It is not. The World Series of Poker has definitely had over 10,000 players in its main event. But that's also run across the span of like a week or two. Like, this is 3 days. 2 days we're getting down to 6 players. In 2 days, we're getting down to 6 players, dude. We're going from 7,061 players to 6 players in 2 days. Oh, it's so crazy, dude. It's so crazy. I mean, a lot of people are saying that a lot of these players might not show up. I would be surprised to have it be that low of a turnout. I would expect a majority of them will actually show up. Like, God, I feel like at least over 5,000 players are showing up for sure. So, how late are they allowed to keep the venue open? Again, Super Moose, it's never a matter of time. It's always a matter of money. And someone like Rick knows this. People always talk about EVO like, oh my God, here comes the 8 a.m. pools. They already announced there's not going to be any 8 a.m. pools. It's always going to be a matter of money. Because any TO worth their salt doesn't run their doesn't not adjust what they have, their hardware, based on the number of entrants. If you run a tournament, you take the number of entrants, you calculate the number of matches, you estimate them all to go long, 3 out of 2 out of 3 games, 3 out of 5, 3 rounds each of them, and lasting about as long as possible. You take that time, you add in all the downtime, you get your total amount of time, you get the amount of time that you have available to run all of that, divide it by that. That's how many stations and pools you need. That's how many stations and pools you need. So based off of the numbers, they will be getting more stations and more pools to make sure they could run on the same schedule, right? If it was 5,000 players, they would have less stations and run in the same amount of time. If they expected 5,000 and they had this many setups and they see 7,000, they add more stations. That's how it works. Yeah, it's not top 8. It's doing top 6 this year. Because last year Sunday ran super long, and Sunday has become very important for like announcements and stuff like that. And I mean, we're not going to pretend that people don't freaking love the announcements. So I don't think Rick wants the tournament to run past 1 a.m. again anymore. So they're running top 6 to try to cut down on the time, basically. So, oh yeah, last year the security got very, very frustrated. So so there you go. That's Street Fighter 6, 7,061 players. It is going to be absolute madness. It is going to be absolute chaos. I can't wait for it. I am so excited for this, honestly, because the game is still so new. We still don't know much of what's going on. So yeah, that's kind of the situation going into EVO with the 8 games that we're going to see there. Again, sorry that I wasn't able to bring on someone from each of the communities to give a lot more detailed information, but I just kind of really wanted to talk about things to expect at EVO, and it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a great time. If you guys aren't going there personally, please make sure you try to tune in twitch.tv/EVO. PlayStation will probably be running their own kind of like jump off kind of stream like they did last year as well. But there's EVO, EVO 1, EVO 2, EVO 3, EVO 4, EVO 5, EVO 6. And then there's also, I think EVO 7, which also showcases amazing business presentations in Japan, I think it was, or something like that. But in any case, you know, it's going to be some great times over there. Please make sure that you guys watch. Yeah, and if Max restreams it, you can watch it there as well. So please tune in. It's going to be a great time. And for all of us in the FGC, it is going to be the most important weekend of the year. But actually, it doesn't work. Yeah, you know what? It is the most important day. So there you go. That's the end of it. And the day this podcast graced your ears was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was... I almost said the line for M. Bison. I'm going to have to let Bison do it himself.
It was Tuesday.